Welcome back to the ASUS ROG DreamLeague Live here from the DreamHack Monster Energy Studios, where we are after the first game of our first series. It was basically unknown that wasn't able to live up to the expectations of, I guess, of me. I'm the only one that actually thought they could take a game off of Vega. But Vega was just too strong. And Vega did exactly what Shane said they would do. They just did it a little bit slower.
Really?
That was really...
They just did a little bit slower.
Yeah, a little bit slower, but it looked pretty convincing, to be honest. Even with Stonemannon on his bounty hunter getting all them courier kills, they were quite good with the courier micro at the start of the game as well. Just leaving it at the.
Get Chen as courier, glorified courier.
It was pretty nice, but he did kill it what, 4 times?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
it was 3 for sure. Was there a 4th?
3 for sure. Let's keep it at 3.
I think it was a pretty convincing win though.
So the thing that Shane, of course, said that they would do was pick Chen, pick Dragonite, and start the death ball. What do you think? What was the story for you for the game, Matt?
That's all I got too. They picked Chen. They picked people that are good at running in the towers, and then they did that.
Kind of good.
Yes, they ran into those towers. I kind of wonder, do you think the game would have played out differently had the bounty hunter gone into the jungle and just messed with the Chen?
Harassed the Chen.
Yeah,
more
instead of just running around for the courier.
Well, we saw when Come With Me played Enchantress, he basically
he got chased down by Solo that time.
Right, he didn't get anything against him, right?
He didn't get anything. Yeah, and it's quite a similar story with Chen. You know, early game they're quite weak, and especially if you have like Boots and an Orb of Venom, like that's all you need, and you can just zone him out of the woods completely. I guess he was prioritizing winning a Rise his mid lane, so he could get the Blink Dagger early by shutting down the bottle of the opponent mid. Maybe that was like just a team decision, but I don't know. It didn't end up doing the best.
True. I'm actually slightly disappointed that a drawing that was on the drawing board has disappeared, but. I think Shane is going to try to copy it in the 10 seconds we have in between now and the drawing board.
Oh, go. Welcome to the drawing board. So the clip is basically when they're pushing... Okay, Shiva can... Yeah, nice. Let's have a look. They're pushing middle, and basically Unknown don't really have what it takes to beat them. So this is the death ball. This is what Pyrion drew when I attempted to draw a second. It didn't. He's
had a nose.
He's had a nose?
2 out of 10. It's not great.
All right. Not the best. Okay, so they...
I'll give it a 3 out of 10.
Well, really?
I'd give it maybe even a 4. Because I drew the line
first
from
of all,
the
Mag
biased.
blinking out of the glimpse. Like, first of all, that's like huge, because that was their setup. They were completely ready for Mag to get locked down and nuke him. Then no one on his Dragonite just tanks everything. He is such a monster. It's like, what damage did he have? You know what I mean? A Rise can't do any damage. Bounty Hunter can't do any damage. Pure Evil, like they don't have any click. And Relax is just completely on his own, zoned out, and they just, you know, at this stage of the game though, I don't think there was much they could do. You know, like if they won their lanes harder and actually could put up a solid defense with the early track gold.
Yeah.
And take fights further away from the base. Because if Vega basically roamed around the map and would get 1 pick off and then immediately get a tower. And then it's like, you can't give up that kind of advantage at the start of the game. It's like, especially when a bounty hunter is on your team, you need to be the one getting the pick off.
Yeah, exactly. That's, you know, they ended up in a position where there were all these Chen creeps and all these things going at towers, and they just had nothing that could stop that. Yeah. Which is kind of why I was thinking the bounty hunter maybe should have specifically just targeted the Chen the whole game. Because otherwise, you know, once he gets rolling, like, there's nothing you got nothing really.
Yeah.
So was this a draft issue?
I think maybe they were watching the games the other day and they saw the Bounty Hunter and they were like, this looks awesome.
We can do this.
You know, someone picks Chen, we pick Bounty Hunter, we win. But in the way they played it wasn't really the same as we saw. Yeah. Like, they've concentrated on the courier, they didn't completely shut down the jungle at all. So maybe the draft wasn't an issue, just maybe the execution of it was more the problem.
So what did they need to do next? So, like, to be honest, I mean, in terms of draft, the Phantom Lancer was never able to really get off the floor as well. Like, do they need to draft heroes that can actually already fight earlier? Well,
when we saw them yesterday, they played a similar style. They'd pick these kind of cores that take a little bit longer to get into the game. But what they do is their high ground defense was so powerful that they wouldn't really panic. And they were like a Rise on his Magnus. They have the Disruptor on top of it. They played that really well, but they could only get 1 mana or Ps because of how spread out Vega were.
Yeah.
So, honestly, I think if they go into this game again, maybe don't pick such a greedy carry, like someone that could fight earlier. Like, maybe, like, even any sort of core that can fight early, like Gyrocopter, for example, it was huge at that. Even as played as a support role, just does that early game damage.
Was taken by Vega.
Yeah, I know, but like try and prioritize it in this draft.
Okay.
I mean, if you compare it to the games yesterday too, you know, Nip kind of did this thing where they, you know, as we were talking about before the games, they were playing a little bit passively. Once it hit that point where they were kind of, instead of sieging high ground, they were kind of farming the map, and it's kind of what let them back into the game. Is they had that Midas on the Slark, and they, you know, it got to a point where they just couldn't fight that.
Yeah.
Whereas against Vega, Vega's going to hit that point, and they're just going to keep running into you basically, because that's how they play.
What else they could do is they could actually concentrate on shutting down the heroes that allow them to do that, like the Dragon Knight and the Chen. If they concentrate on them heroes, even after the fights, they don't really have that kind of push. Like maybe a hero like Queen of Pain could be very good for a Ryze or Nico Baby, just to get that early game kind of pick off, like to make you be the aggressor and not be on the back foot.
Well, we're going to find out what they're going to do because we are actually already in the second game. So it's time to go to our second game between basically